What's up, guys? I'm back with another build. Today I'm building a Tao Tao 110. The story behind this one is the guy bought it, his kids rode it for a little while, and then they grew out of it. So I got it. It's been sitting for the last 3 years or so. It looks like it's in pretty good condition, but my biggest concerns are if it has compression, what does the wiring harness look like, and does that chain move freely? If all that works, then it's going to be a very, very easy build. If not, my biggest concern is probably going to be the wiring harness. Those are super easy to do, super easy to these Chinese quads are super easy to rewire. If you haven't looked at my channel already, I have a step-by-step video on how to do that. Make sure you check it out. I've gotten a lot of comments on that. I've had people follow me on Instagram because of that and ask me questions. Feel free. It's all, my Instagram link is always in the bio. Anyways, let's get started. So just a quick overview of this. A few things I know for sure I'm going to change is that headlight. It's super dingy. It looks terrible, if I'm being honest. I bought 2 of these from that guy. He let them sit for a few years, and the other one had a clogged fuel filter. These are metal fuel tanks. So I'm definitely going to take all that apart and take that off. Make sure that's cleaned up. Check for compression. Always check the oil. Oh yeah, and these fuel lines are just absolutely trashed. I just ripped that one off like nothing. It literally just ripped in half. And now gas is going on the floor. Great. Anyways, not much fuel in it. I'm gonna get a container real quick to catch what fuel does come out. Okay, anyways, I already took the battery at it. I know the battery's no good. I tried to charge that. I took the lug jack off because that's gonna be painted. I'll probably throw it back on so when I take it to the car wash, I don't have to wash it when I get back here. And the very, very first thing I'm gonna do is take off these plastics. But like I said, this one looks like a complete quad. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. Something that I thought was pretty cool about these, you know what? I'll go ahead and check the wiring harness. Oh, yep, this is gonna need replaced. Listen to this. That's the wiring harness just shattering because they're super brittle. Anyways, I don't like selling junk, so I'm going to replace the wiring harness. I'm going to try to knock a few more of these builds out in the next couple months because Christmas is right around the corner, and I've been getting quite a few calls, or been getting quite a few messages on Facebook about this would make a great Christmas present. And I agree. These things would make great Christmas presents. They're super nice. They're super fun. But like I said, this is my first pink quad. This quad, plastics are in really, really good conditions. They're really nice. I am going to paint the underside of them black so they match. The wheels, I'm going to repaint the wheels so those are actually shining. Oh yeah, and change the oil. The very first thing I'm going to do, though, is remove the plastics. I'm going to get started on that. So I was about to remove the plastics on this quad, and it kind of hit me. I've been rebuilding these, and I talk about how I make a little bit extra cash on them. But typically, I really do double all my money on them, and I make about $40 an hour. I don't ever buy the ones that have been sitting outside for like 12 years, 10 years or something, or that are completely destroyed. I typically try to buy something that's just not running, might need some work, at the very most needs a top-end rebuild. Alright, so the plastics are completely loosened. That's this. The next thing you want to do is disconnect your this switch. This is the start switch. Disconnect your brake and your headlight and your tail light. And then you should be able to pull the plastics off after you remove the handlebars and remove everything from the handlebars. I'm going to go ahead and get started on all that. Like I said in the video I just made right before this, if you have rusty bolts right here, this little plate is threaded, so spray PB Blaster on it. Let it sit for a couple minutes, and then it should be easy to take off. I've skipped the whole PB Blaster thing before, and I ended up having to drill these out and re-tap them. When I first bought these, I didn't think I was going to have to replace the wiring harness because it looks like it's in fairly good shape, like it's never been messed with. But all the connections are just really brittle, and a bunch of them were breaking on the last one. And I bought 2 of them from this guy. So, change of plans. Oh, something I didn't mention. I already have a 2-coil stator and a 6-coil stator here in my shop. And when I say my shop, I mean my 1-car garage. But typically, you want to, after you remove these plastics, or you don't even have to remove the plastics yet. Pretty much, the first thing you want to do is remove the stator cover. Make sure you got all the stator covered off. or all the bolts out of the stator cover, wiggle it a little bit. It's magnetic, so it's going to give you a little bit of resistance, but pull that off and you'll be able to see if this is a 2-coil or a 6-coil stator. I think I have a 2-coil sitting around. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a 2-coil stator. It has 2 coils. If it's a 6-coil stator, you'll have 6 smaller coils going all the way around this little ring. But you definitely need to know that information before you order your wiring harness, or else you might order the wrong stator for the quad that you bought. But the wiring harness is a very simple job. Don't be intimidated. There's only one way to hook it up and one way to disconnect it. And if you need to know how to do that, like I said, just go look at my channel. I have a step-by-step video. It's 30 minutes long, a little bit longer video, but it shows you step-by-step on how to install a wiring harness on these. Also, if you don't have a jack, get one of those. Or if you don't have a table to put this on, make sure you get one of those because that's going to save your back. Also, a creeper seat will also save your back. Trust me. I was kind of cheaping out on them at first, and I bought one. Game changer. Anything you need or anything you have questions about, I'll post links in the description. So you can just use those links and order whatever parts you need. Now, like I said, if you're trying to be kind of cheap when you're rebuilding one, whether you're going to keep it or resell it, I typically filter through all the cheapest stuff on Amazon. I don't buy the stuff that I've already bought before that I know is junk. I buy the stuff that I know is good, and so at the end of the day, I just want to sell a good quad. I do this for the content, but I also do it for a little bit extra cash, and I kind of think it's fun, to be honest. When I'm disassembling everything, I'll use an impact, but when I'm putting everything back together, I won't use an impact because I don't want to strip anything out. Also, when I sell these, I'm completely honest with everybody. Anything that I think could cause them issues in the future, anything that I had issues with, I just tell them about it. And when I'm selling these, I just send people links to the videos. I just started doing this, by the way, so. Or just started videotaping and selling them the link, or showing them the links. But I want them to know that I'm completely honest about what I'm selling. I'm not selling shit. I'm not selling bullshit. I'm not trying to scam anybody. I want to be known as a guy that sells good quads at a fair price around Wichita, Kansas. I'm kind of banking on this one having compression since the other one has compression. But like I said, if not, I'll take the little pay cut and just buy a new head instead of rebuilding it. It's not worth my time. I can spend that time doing something else or maybe working on another quad where I don't have to rebuild the head. So wiring harness completely disassembled, all the plastics off. Took about 40 minutes total, probably less than that if I'm being honest. Probably closer to, actually I'm gonna say 30 minutes. All that's done, 30 minutes. I'm ready to go to the car wash. I am gonna put a cap cover over this. I don't really, you know what, I'm gonna end up rinsing this out with with distilled vinegar. So I'm not gonna worry about that. Oh, it's hitting something over here. I was like, what? That doesn't sound good. Here. Sounds pretty good. Chain has a little rust, not too bad. I might not even take that off. I'll probably just put PB Blaster on that. I'll probably throw PB Blaster on it before I go to the car wash. But everything else, it's ready to go to the car wash. I'm gonna put a cap on that, the more I think about it. I'll put the old cap on it. This is the old cap. But once you get to this point, you're ready to go to the car wash. I usually leave all the fuel lines on until I get back, leave the carb, everything else on until I get back, and then I disassemble it all. So like I said, if I rebuild these in about 4 or 5 hours, I'm still making about $40 an hour or so. A lot of people want to double their money or make the most profit as you can. Like some people, instead of buying a new head, they'll rebuild these heads, but you're spending, I don't know, to me, you're gonna spend a few hours doing it when you could just spend $40, take the pay cut, and then move on to the next one, and hopefully make that $40, $50 an hour on the next one. And even if you're redoing this head, you're still making $35 an hour. Or I mean, if you're replacing this head. And then you can sell this broken head for 10, 15 bucks. So you're still making out. Anyways, I'm at a good starting point. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna spray it all down with degreaser. And then go to the car wash. This one has loose suspension. The last one had loose suspension also. So I definitely want to check that. Which I will be tightening all that up. Alright, so I'm at a good stopping point. I'm about where I need to be tonight before I take this thing to the car wash. When I get back from the car wash, I am going to check the oil, make sure it has good oil, and then I'm going to check for compression. I'm going to hook up the wiring harness, check for spark. This stator, I know the stator is still good. So I'm going to reuse the stator and just put the rest of the wiring harness back on. So I might end up having to hardwire this one in. Oh yeah, petcocks. Just to save a couple more bucks, I don't ever use petcocks. Petcocks are really only if you plan on removing the gas tank and you need to cut the fuel, or if you get a gas leak, you need to cut the fuel to the system. But once I replace all this stuff should be good to ride for the next few years at least. Probably longer than that. If they're stored inside, I bet they last a lot longer than that actually. But petcocks, I don't ever use them just because I don't like using more fuel line. Anyways, at a good stopping point, like I said. I am going to take this off, repaint it, repaint the handlebars, repaint the luggage rack. The plastics, I'm not going to mess with those much. I'm literally just going to clean them up. I'm going to repaint underneath them, paint them black so they match all this. I am going to repaint the rims. These rims on the last one, the back rims, the rear rims, yep, they're the same. They're lock nuts with bolts on the front. They're pain in the ass to get off. But repainting these wheels made a huge difference in the look. Oh yeah, all these tires hold air. They look fairly new, like they barely got used. Something else, no dents in the rims. I'm very happy with these. Anyways, like I said, at a good stopping point, I'm out. Okay, so I just got back from the car wash. This thing cleaned up really nice. I'm definitely not expecting to do much to it. As long as it has compression, I should be good. I'm gonna check for compression in a minute. I'll show my live reaction to whether or not it has compression. If it has compression, I'm usually happy. That means I have to do little work, but like electrical, painting the wheels, painting the underside. Oh yeah, painting all the stuff that's gonna be seen. Like I'm gonna paint this, I'm gonna paint the luggage rack that's in the back, I'm gonna paint the handlebars, and those little deals that hold the handlebars in place, and pretty much just clean it up and make it look really nice, make sure it's running really good, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, something I have learned from mistakes in the past is that do all your painting first, so while that's drying, you do all the mechanical stuff. And then the next morning you can come in and put your painted parts on, put everything back together, and then your quads are a wrap. I guess the best way I can put this is if you're gonna do this for money, I wouldn't even bother doing it. If you're not having fun, you're literally just working at home. I guess the best way to say it, and the best way to flip a 110cc kids quad is if you get it, whatever your final budget is, keep it under about $275 to $300. If you go over that, then you're not going to double your money. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and pull the plastics, and then I'll be right back. Or I'm going to go ahead and get everything prepped for paint, including the handlebars, luggage rack, plastics, everything. And then I'm probably going to paint that, and I'll be right back to work on this. Oh, something else. If you want to learn how to paint plastic so it lasts, I have a video up on my YouTube. Go check that out. And everything that I use, sorry, one last thing. Everything that I use on this channel, I'm going to post a link to in the description. All the parts I replaced, the carb, all the electrical, air filter, pretty much everything that I use to build this and make it run good. I'm going to post a link in the description. Make sure you use that link to support the channel. It's an Amazon affiliate. I literally make pennies on the dollar. I sold 4 items off this channel and made $1. Anyways, I'll be back. Alright, so I have some parts painted, waiting to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the wiring harness. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is remove this gas tank and get it cleaned out. Clean out that inside filter. Metal gas tanks, they get rust on the inside, so you definitely want to clean that filter out if you have a metal gas tank. But this petcock I'm not going to use. I'm just going to run it straight to the new carb. I'm going to remove the carb and the gas tank right now. By the way, everything I do in here, carb, gas tank, wiring harness, all this stuff's on my YouTube channel, step by step on how to do everything. That's why some of my videos are a little longer, because I really preach that step by step thing. So I feel like that's how people learn the best. I think this is the original carb because it literally will not break loose. Oh yeah, also while you're working on stuff, just keep your environment, keep your workspace clean, so you can find all your tools, you're not looking for tools, you're not wasting time. And since I'm replacing all the fuel lines, I'll just cut this one. Carb's off. Easy peasy, but you're gonna need this neck for your new carb. Bolts, keep all your hardware, all this stuff. Even if this carb is good and rebuildable, I just toss them. It's not worth my time to fix them. I'll probably reuse that hose on the bottom. All the clamps and everything I save. Some hardware, screws, everything I typically save. So when I do reuse it, I'm gonna dump out the gas in this line though. New electrical. Oopsie. I typically put all this together off the carb, and then I just lay it on the carb, make sure I can get the carb to fire over. I'm gonna check compression before I do this, and I think that's it. After I do this, I'll check for spark. As long as I have those three things, compression, spark, then I'll throw a little bit of starter fluid in here and make sure I can get this to fire. Anyways, I'm gonna do that, I'll be right back. Okay, I just opened the wiring harness. If you don't know how to put one of these on, check out the video on my channel. It's literally step by step. It's a little bit longer video, but it literally breaks down all the components to a wiring harness, what they do, and exactly how to put them on. They're very simple. Do not be intimidated by the wiring harnesses on 110 ATVs. Very, very simple. But like I said, I put everything together outside with the wiring harness. I just set it on here, make sure everything's out of the way of moving components, and then I make sure it turns over. By the way, check your oil before you turn this engine over. I've already checked this one. This one's good. But after you can turn over your engine, check your compression. I'll do that right now, and then check for spark. As long as you have those three things, put a little bit of starter fluid down where your carb goes, and you should be able to fire it up. And that's probably the best feeling, is when you know you don't have to work on the engine. Anyways, I'm gonna do this. I'll be right back. Okay, I got the wire harness hooked up. It's just laid over it. Nothing's really set in place. I got a couple zip ties just holding it up, make sure nothing falls down where moving components are gonna be. Like I said, before you ever turn this engine over, make sure you check oil. Oil looks very clean on this one, and it's full. Next thing I'm gonna do is check for compression. So I'm gonna take out that spark plug, get my compression tester, and then check for compression. Something that you have to remember to do when you're doing this is make sure you put the throttle at full blast. Put the wrong size. You have to crank the throttle, fully open the throttle in order to check for compression. I have a video that says how to check for compression on ATVs, and I couldn't figure out why the ATV didn't have much compression, but that was why, because I didn't open the throttle all the way. Bypass the brake system by touching these two wires together. I'm just going to set this here, and then crank the engine. Open the throttle all the way, bypass the brakes, and then crank the engine. Actually, almost 160 PSI. It's really good compression. that means this thing is pretty much a wrap. It's gonna be very simple from here on out. Next thing I'm gonna do is check for a spark. By the way, in one of my videos, some guy actually says that's the reason I didn't have much compression. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Or to open the throttle all the way. So the way I check for spark is I'm just gonna use my old spark plug, stick inside my new boot, just lay it on the head somewhere where it has a good ground. If this doesn't have good spark, the next thing I'll do is grab a new spark plug and check for spark that way. So, oh yeah, you also have to have this turned on. You have to, because if not, you won't get any spark. Bypass the brakes. Again, if you've never done this wiring harness, or if you've never done a ATV or a Chinese wiring harness, or a wiring harness on the Chinese ATV, go check out that video. I literally have a step-by-step video on how to do it. This has really good spark. So, since I already got a new spark plug, I'm just going to take this out. I'm going to toss this one and put the new one in. Oh. Forgot to hook the boot. Okay, so this gas tank doesn't have a fuel filter on it. Kind of nice, kind of not. But I actually looked inside this, and this gas tank's way cleaner than the other one. Barely any rust spots. It's actually really nice. So, I am happy I emptied out that gas tank though, because this gas tank literally had like, the color of the gas in it was literally like green. Okay, so I have the wiring harness in place, the carb installed, fuel lines in, gas tank on. This thing is pretty much ready to go besides plastics and handlebars. I still need to paint this, I forgot to. Luggage rack. Oh yeah, I'm gonna paint the rims. I think I'm gonna take these caps off. But I'll just finish all this stuff tomorrow. I got up to fire just a minute ago, but my phone died. Or my camera died. What's up, guys? This is the final stretch. All the rims are painted, plastics are painted, luggage rack, the front grille, everything's been painted. Just need to put it all back together, and this build is a wrap. You guys will see me wearing boots and sweats. This is not normal. Those are my shoes right there, but I just got back from the gym. Anyways, I'm gonna start putting all this stuff on. Stay tuned. pretty excited about this build. It's my first girl quad. I guess it doesn't have to be girl, but it's my first pink one, I guess you could say. I still need to clean up all these edges. Where I taped it, it peeled some of this off, so I'm not exactly happy about that. The plastic's still in great shape. It's still gonna be a really nice quad. And honestly, probably one of the easiest builds I've done so far. Anyways, I'm gonna finish tightening all this stuff up, tape all this. I'm gonna put the foot guards on right now. Actually, I left it outside.
Put this stuff on right now and tighten it all up.
And if you want to make all this stuff line up fairly good or fairly even, tighten this down first, leave these kind of loose, and then kind of push those into place, and then level this out. Actually, level this out, tighten these down, level this out, tighten the bolts right here, and then push all these kind of snug together, and then tighten all those up. But don't tighten these two screws until you know exactly where this is going to sit. Alright, so I just finished tightening up the plastics, batteries in, ignition, everything, fires up every time. That's smoking because it hasn't ran in a while. Everything's working good on it now. The only thing left to do is test drive it. You guys might see another quad sitting back here. I started putting all this stuff on. I kind of lost track of filming, but it's kind of weird how this turned out. I started doing this as a hobby, and now I'm actually having people hit me up to fix their quads. I guess it's fun still. I did this because I wanted the content, but I guess if I ever don't have fun doing it, I'll just stop. Anyways, still fun, so I'm going to keep doing it. But like I said, it's kind of weird. I was doing this for the content, and now I have people hitting me up and making a little bit of money from it on top of selling these. I'm really excited the way this one turned out. It's my first pink quad. I call it a female quad, but I guess pink doesn't have to be for females. Something that I didn't mention in any videos, if you ever have overspray, use Goo Gone. I'll put a link to this in the description also. But this stuff literally, like I had a couple spots where I had overspray, and it just takes it right off. The only thing left to do is test drive this, and this quad's a wrap. Excited the way it turned out. I like the way it turned out, and as always, I do this for fun. Started making a little bit of money. Made it a little better, I guess, but at the end of the day, I do this because I like doing it and I think it's fun. I don't do it for money. If you're trying to do it for money, then you're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. That's good. I don't know why I like building this shit. It's fun though. It really is. To me. Anyway, this one's a wrap. I got the luggage rack over there. I'm going to send it with them. Send it with it if people want it. I also have the front grill. It's still drying. That's the last thing I painted. But anyways, everything works on this like it should. Look at the light on it. It's fucking nice. Anyways, if you haven't done so already and you're still watching right now, subscribe to the channel. Don't be a hater.